Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about one of the massive weaknesses that MMA fighters, kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters often have, and that is hands that are not stellar. The boxing is not up to the same level as those guys who specialize in only these two weapons. Today I'm going to have tips for you so you can elevate your boxing game. Tip number one, everybody, start learning to get your head off the center line well. This is the important part because most of you already know how to get your head off the center line, but get the head off that center line well punching. This is going to make a massive difference. This means that if this guy approaches me, I can drop my head to the side, evade his punch, and at the same time land my strike. Additionally, if he has longer arms than me and I want to enter, but I feel like, oh, every time I enter, he hits me, if I get my head off the center line on approach, then he's going to miss, my shot will most likely land, and then now that I've closed the range, I can follow up with whatever else I want. We need to basically start off and learn this motion, bend the knees, drop the body slightly to the side, rotate the core and the shoulders. I put all that together to get my slip, and then I start going, okay, what hand should I throw that makes sense? I obviously don't want to throw my right hand as I drop to my right because you can see everything is off and there's no power. Left hand when I rotate to my right, right hand when I rotate to my left. The common mistake that most people are going to make is you're going to try and do this and only drop your weight sideways. Slip. You think that's the motion. But the problem with that is now I can't follow through the target because I only put my weight sideways. I want to go sideways, but also forwards, put the two together, and now look, I can create lots of damage on Bob as opposed to being over here where I can hardly follow through. Tip number two, most people headhunt. They throw to the head, they throw to the head, they want to go down to the body, but they go, oh, I feel like I can't reach them. Why can't they reach? Well, very often people enter with straight punches, 1, 2, and then they want to get to the body, they throw their body shot, they're like, oh no, I missed. We need to change up this left body hook so you don't feel like you have to go 1, 2, and then step forward to get within range. Or alternatively, I suppose, step forward with really short arms so you can land. Very simple solution to this. We want to take this punching arm and we want to go, okay, when I throw my hook, set myself up at jab range, can I land my body hook here? A lot of people will say no. I don't feel like I can. But you absolutely can. I rotate, I don't need to lean myself way forward. I don't want to put too much weight over my lead leg. I just go rotate. When I unrotate, I reach fairly far. If you see this in reverse from my southpaw stance, you're going to see what I do with my arm. I go from here, I rotate, and I come around fairly long. And I fold my wrist over a little bit so I'm not slapping with the inside of the glove, but I'm still landing now with the knuckles and just getting this extra extension. Instead of being in this position, I just extend it and roll. Now means that I can step forward 1, 2 and land my body shot from this long range. Of course, if we're on the inside and we're throwing uppercuts and stuff, that's great. But very often we're not tight on the inside. So we absolutely want to learn how to throw long shots and still come to the body with something that feels like, oh, I don't have to take that massive step forward to make it happen. I'm going to venture out there and say, from my experience talking with people, the least commonly thrown punch out of all 6, jab, cross, upper, hook, hook, the one that's thrown the least is the hook off the rear hand. This is one time and time again when I do sessions with people, they go, oh yeah, you almost never get that shot off. When we see the high level guys, they obviously throw it a lot because they know the power that's in there. But people who are beginners, intermediate, they feel that when they throw, they're too exposed and they get tagged too many times when they do it. So all of a sudden they go, yeah, I'm not gonna let that punch go. And you really do need to because it is one of your main knockout shots. Why do people feel like, oh, I'm a little held back and I can't get this? Well, most likely they're coming really wide when they throw it. And then when they go really wide, it's a slower punch. They're focusing more on the arm coming through as opposed to the body rotating and just a short little sort of chop to follow up. If you're having trouble with your right hook, put the emphasis on the hips and the shoulders rotating, and then just get that little chop. And that'll allow you to throw something like a double jab, keep your hand tight, and at the last second come up and land your shot and then rechamber and not feel like you're exposing yourself so much. Hopefully you can see the difference. I'm gonna do one example really wrong and then one that is a little more correct. Number one, I'm out here. Wide, kind of long, takes a long time to get there. Number two, hopefully visually, right from there, you guys were able to go, oh yeah, one, he was so much more exposed to the counters than the other. Now a punch that people throw, but seem to have actual trouble getting the technique down is the rear uppercut. I've worked with so many people on correcting this, and as soon as I mention a couple things to them, they usually seem to lock it down and it looks so much better. Let's run through some of the common errors just because I want you able to let this shot go and feel really solid about it. This one is not something that you have to worry about, oh, it's really wide or something like that. The common errors that people make are they forget about springing the right shoulder forward and they rely more on this hand dropping and lifting. And while yes, you can get power coming through with that, it's not going to keep you very safe. We get the little drop, our hand stays tight to our head. As we lift out, our hand starts to leave our head and then we can throw. And most people, in addition to making the mistake of dropping their arm, they think an uppercut has to be done from here. When I see them shadow box, it's always long, long, long and really tight with their uppercuts. We want to lengthen it out a little bit so we can throw it at the jab range. If we're more at that hook range, we can throw it as well. We want to make sure that there's some diversity in length so we can hit this person from any possible angle. Rotate the shoulders and extend the arm a little further sometimes. Now the punch that is often referred to the most important one in boxing is the jab. Many people are sharp on their jab, but then the double jab comes into play and they start to struggle. Let's talk about why that is. Number one, whenever you get countered throwing something, you're gonna start shying away from it. You're gonna get countered a lot if your double jab looks like this. Why am I gonna get countered unless I'm crazy good at fading back? Because once I throw my first jab, I'm only rechambering to here and I'm hitting again. And there's a time and a place to do that. But if I do it every time, I have to recognize that I'm exposing this side of my head so much. If I hit, pull back, hit, in between, I'm covered. I hit them, I come back, I'm protected, I hit them again, I pull back to my head. Now we want to do that sometimes, and then sometimes we want to go, okay, little taps. You're going to slow down dramatically when you pull back to your head, but you're going to be more protected. So you want to play with both. My rule of thumb is I never take big risks in the first 20, 30 seconds of a fight, because if I walk out and I just go tap, tap, and the guy happens to come with a big overhand and my head is exposed, I'm gonna run the risk that I'm gonna get knocked out. So I'll start with better jabs, proper jabs, and then move on to these when I know I'm gonna be safe. With the double jab, the very common mistake is to put so much effort into the first one, boom, be so rotated through your upper body, only do a small rotation as you pull halfway back and then try to get the second out. And the second's not gonna have any power because you went full, full. We wanna make sure that we're having even power in these, or if anything, more power in the second one. So I hit, maybe I don't rotate all the way on the first. I do my rechamber, and then on the second, I can aim through. So it could be a little bit more power on that second punch. This will help improve your jab, and you want to make sure, of course, that your elbow is not going to flare out as you do it, because then you've exposed the side of your head and your body. Elbow tight, tap, tap, so your head's protected and your body is protected. And finally, let's talk about the overhand. A punch which is utilized by some people, but many people don't even really know what it is. They don't understand it. Yes, they've seen high-level fighters throw it, but nobody at their gym is teaching them. We're just gonna do a fast wrap-up here of this episode on this technique. The thing I like about the overhand is it can land up to the top of the head. It can land down to the jaw. It could come to the ear, it could come to the forehead. The angle can be changed up so easy by just going, okay, I'm gonna tweak my elbow a little higher. Oh, I'm gonna push my shoulder out a little bit more. Oh, I'm gonna tuck my wrist in or fold my wrist a little bit. All of these are gonna change the angle. So it's not like a straight punch where it's kind of like, okay, this is coming right up the middle. All I can do is change heights. Oh, a hook coming right to the side. This one, I believe, can come to the front, sort of in between, way around to the side, could even come behind the head if you're a little bit long with your arm. This one can be so dangerous, and you have to make sure on this that you do, as we talked about in point number 1, drop your head off that center line, bend your knees, get that elbow up, rotate the body, and roll through. I like high elbow. I don't like turning my hand over like this, but if it feels more natural for you, you could absolutely do that. But my preference is to come boom, and I'll usually come right in to just above the eye. Right above the eye there, I find is the sweet spot for me. But again, I can mix it up. I can diversify the point of attack. Pretty much depending on what my opponent's doing, right? If they have their guard like this and I see the side of the head is open, then I'm going to attack there. If I see that every time they come forward with an attack, they're leaving the front of their face open, then I'm going to change it to there. This one is so diverse in attack points, and that's why I like it so much, and I think people should be training it more. So there are some boxing tips to help improve your hands if you are a Muay Thai fighter, a kickboxer, an MMA practitioner. This will help you because we don't always get the emphasis on the boxing that we should. I feel like this has really helped me elevate my game in the striking world, having those really solid hands, and it sometimes puts you above others who don't put the emphasis there. So let's call it there, guys. As always, train hard, and I will see you back here soon for another video.